The story begins with Cheese Sushi gently turning her head, her soft face and his melodious voice gradually echoing throughout the space. Tomorrow you have to go to school, right? Go to bed early, Kagari heard these words. The girl, sitting on the nearby chair, holding the TV remote, quickly retorted. Do you have to work too, Nana-kun? It's so unfair that only you get to stay up late. What she said left the other person stunned. He awkwardly answered her question, saying he was an adult and allowed to do so, while in Suzuki's mind, there was a constant flow of thoughts. Asterisk. Don't call him Nana-kun right now. Asterisk. The girl sitting on the chair revealed an innocent face, looking at him as Fuyuko Kawa. Kagari saw the slightly guilty expression of the other person. Suzuki didn't continue to scold her. Instead, he silently thought, asterisk. Even though we were childhood friends, asterisk. Over the past few years, the two had kept a bit of distance from each other. Time rewound to that scene. It was Kagari, being brought in front of Suzuki by her mother, making him feel somewhat awkward. Asterisk, I was forced to keep an eye on her. Asterisk. Because her parents were rarely home and were quite worried about her safety, he returned to reality and unhesitatingly reached out. A quick thought crossed Sushi-Chi's mind. Asterisk. Usually who would trust asterisk? Their daughter to a guy like me? More importantly, however, his train of thought was interrupted by Kagari. The girl always attracted attention with an appearance like she stepped out of a fairy tale, sitting there with a pure face. Her gentle voice rang out, reminding him, Oh, Nana-kun, all your t-shirts are white, right? What she said made Sushi panic. In an instant, he shouted, That's mine. However, Kagari, on the opposite side, looked very innocent. She glanced down at the hem of her shirt and muttered, Is this yours too? Very quickly after, he stepped beside her, thinking, asterisk, so she took my clothes without permission, huh? Asterisk. Thinking that, Sushi-Chi quickly spoke up, It's already white, so wearing white clothes makes it hard for me to see your face. At this moment, he was unhesitatingly pinching her cheek, making it a bit difficult for her to respond. I know exactly where your face is. Suddenly, Sushi-Chi froze, his eyes wide with horror as he looked forward when Kagari continued. But wearing a big shirt like this is really comfortable. At least let me relax a little while I'm here, okay? Her words made him suddenly realize, asterisk. Oh right, she must be trying her best to behave, asterisk. Meanwhile, Kagari on the other side was acting all shocked. She gently touched her cheek and whispered, I got my cheek pinched. Suddenly, Sushi slumped down on the chair. He hesitated a bit before saying the next words. I don't mind you wearing my shirt because we are childhood friends. After a moment, Kagari spoke up shyly, and what she said made the other person choke on water immediately. You have an engagement, Suzuki hurriedly retorted. That's just because our parents are close, so it's just a joke. However, she was not one to be easily dismissed. She quickly countered, but I don't think they would let you be alone with me. What Kagari said made Sushi-Chi feel bashful. He thought to himself, asterisk, what kind of parents would be so lenient, asterisk. Soon after, he slowly spoke up in a flustered tone. As your guardian, you should behave. However, at that moment, Sushi suddenly showed a helpless expression. He sighed and said, While you're in this house, you can behave however you want, I guess. Oh, forget it. Hearing that, Kagari was extremely shocked. She looked at him with a gaze that couldn't believe what was happening. Suddenly, she reached out and gently touched his shirt, her voice trembling, Nana-kun. Right after that, Kagari innocently leaned against Suzuki. Her face at that moment looked very innocent, her voice carrying a hint of grievance. Can I behave like this? Her unexpected action made the other person feel shy, and his face turned slightly red. Meanwhile, Kagari still wouldn't leave Suzuki's side, which made him even more flustered, and he spoke up, That's not it. What I meant wasn't physically, but emotionally. Suddenly, Kagari gently lifted her head, not waiting for the other person to understand what was happening. Kagari gave him a quick kiss, leaving Suzuki momentarily stunned, but in an instant, they pulled away from each other. Kagari inadvertently let out a sound that was very ambiguous. In a heartbeat, she left the place, leaving behind just one sentence. I forgot to do my homework. I'm going to work now and then go to sleep. Right after that, Kagari slammed the door shut, gently touching her gradually reddening face. A shy voice began to echo throughout the space. Nana-kun, what I just said has left me choked up. She suddenly had a thought, asterisk. When I clung to him, he was embarrassed, just as I guessed, asterisk. So, I, Nana-kun, am shy. Thinking this, Kagari's face flushed like a tomato. She hurriedly walked quickly away, her mind constantly replaying the thought, asterisk. He allowed me, so, asterisk. Asterisk from tomorrow. I can behave a little mischievously, asterisk. Meanwhile, outside, Suzuki was showing embarrassment as he touched his face. Not only that, he inadvertently sank into his own daydreams. The scene quickly appeared with 2 eggs being fried in a pan. The owner of that action was none other than Kagari. At this moment, she was lost in her own thoughts. Asterisk, Terui Sushichi, the one I call Nana-kun, asterisk, was the neighbor who used to take care of me a long time ago. Thinking of this, images from the past suddenly flashed in her mind. Back then, Kagari stared intently ahead, her mouth slightly mumbling, "Look, the ants." Immediately after, Sushi beside her gently replied in a soft voice, "You've been watching them for a while now." Not only that, time flowed to when Kagari met Sushi again. When she was wearing her school uniform, she confessed that she liked him quite a bit because he always took time for her. Now I'm in high school, she thought, and not stopping there were times she unintentionally caught him dozing off in his chair, learning more about Nana-kun. Besides being a reliable older brother, back to reality, Kagari stopped acting innocent with her thoughts. Asterisk, I think, Nana-kun is quite cute. Asterisk. In this dark room, silence enveloped the atmosphere. Sushi sat up with messy hair, touching his face with a tired expression. His voice started to sound dejected. I couldn't sleep at all. Suddenly, an image appeared in his mind when Kagari kissed him. A fleeting thought crossed his mind. Last night, Kagari. Soon after, Sushi-chi helplessly lay sprawled on the desk, his mind continually thinking about that. Asterisk. But I probably couldn't sleep at home. It can't be that simple. Asterisk. The image of Kagari still made him focus. Asterisk. In high school, that girl has become even prettier. Asterisk. Surely the people around wouldn't just let her be. Suddenly, Sushi-chi opened his eyes slightly. His eyes carried an indescribable gloom as he questioned himself. Asterisk. Why am I? Asterisk. However, his thoughts were abruptly cut off by a series of knocks on the door, which startled Sushi-chi enough to yell out loud. The person opening the door was none other than Kagari, who stood shyly behind the door with an embarrassed face. She bashfully greeted him. "Good morning. Nana-kun, you're going to be late for work." Now, Sushi also sat up quickly. He hurriedly replied, "Good morning, you." Right after that, Kagari inadvertently said, "You look tired." Hearing this from her, he hurriedly responded in a flustered tone, "I didn't get much sleep yesterday." However, this was interrupted by Kagari's innocent gaze, staring at him to the point he couldn't speak anymore. It seemed Sushi noticed her scrutinizing gaze. He suddenly had a thought. Asterisk. Oh no, she's about to guess it. Asterisk. Thinking this, he panicked and shouted, "No, I mean," before he could finish his sentence, Kagari on the opposite side broke into a bright smile. "Because of me, right?" Hearing that, Suzuki's face flushed with embarrassment. He stammered and admitted, "Well, it's about that, Kagari, about yesterday." However, at this moment, the other person unexpectedly changed the subject. "Do you still have time, Nana-kun?" On her face was still the same innocent expression. Along with the previous question, "You said your boss is very scary, right?" Hearing that, Sushi-chi stood up abruptly. He stepped down from the bed with a languid state, thinking, Asterisk, I'll ask her about it later. Asterisk. However, outside, he still calmly replied, "Okay, and breakfast?" Hearing this from him, Kagari excitedly replied, "I've prepared it already." Along with that, she kept thinking about fried eggs and sausage. Facing the other person's excitement, Sushi was slightly taken aback, looking at her before he unconsciously touched her head. A melodious voice began to resonate. "Thank you." This action made Kagari feel shy. Her face flushed as Kagari's warm voice rang out. "Nana-kun, your hair is still messy." Hearing that, Suzuki replied with a casual attitude, "Before I leave, I'll fix it." His words made her feel embarrassed. Asterisk. So cute. Asterisk. The night had quickly enveloped the entire space. At this moment, cold sweat continuously dripped down Kagari's face. It seemed being alone made her speak her mind. "But I'm really embarrassed. Nana-kun hasn't come home yet." Kagari, with a tired look, couldn't help but self-deduce, then felt heartbroken. Asterisk. He really doesn't like me. I'm too lacking in dignity. Asterisk. Tears from earlier still lingered in her eyes. Asterisk. Could it be better to maintain our relationship as childhood friends? Asterisk. While Kagari was still lost in thought, the front door suddenly opened, along with Suzuki's melodious voice ringing out, "I'm back." In the quiet room, a hurried sound suddenly echoed. He came home from work, exhausted, and plopped down on the couch. His whole being was filled with fatigue. He couldn't help but reflect, Asterisk, I'm dying from lack of sleep times and had a pile of mistakes to deal with. Kagari rushed out from inside, calling out loudly, causing Suzuki to jump. Nana-kun, her face rubbed against his messy hair. She continuously spoke warm words. I'm sorry, Nana-kun." Suddenly, he responded to Kagari. It seemed that Kagari, hugging him tightly, made Suzuki feel embarrassed. His face turned slightly red. He continuously questioned, "What are you sorry for?" Hearing that, Kagari looked at him with a puzzled expression. Meanwhile, the shy voice of Sushi continued to ring out, "I'm the one who should apologize for overreacting. Just leave me alone. Okay?" This made her surprised, asking back, "What time is it?" Kagari's face was now flushed. She spoke cautiously, "For what I did. I thought you didn't want to come home." Hearing this, Sushi just sighed and explained about it. That's when. At this moment, her face was full of innocence as she expressed her love. Sushi's voice at this moment was filled with helplessness as he straightforwardly stated the issue. "I don't like you." Kagari's eyes drooped down. She couldn't hide her sadness in her words. "I mean, I didn't want to do that if I didn't like you. Hearing that, Sushi quickly turned his head away to avoid her gaze. However, very quickly after, he hurriedly spoke up. His words made the other person extremely shocked. Kagari, you're always beside me, so you don't know much about the world around you. You don't know there are many better people than me. At this moment, Sushi continuously explained, it's not like that. There are indeed a lot of things you don't know. But at this moment, in her mind, another thought arose. Asterisk, how do you use this? Asterisk. Meanwhile, Sushi still didn't stop justifying himself. So you think who fills in the gaps in experience for you? In her head, she thought of this famous person. She abruptly shouted, Nana-kun, is it possible? Kagari hesitated a little, then asked him gently, do you have a girlfriend or a crush? However, he simply answered briefly, no. Hearing that, she was stunned, and then continued to ask another question. Or are you actually married? Suzuki reluctantly answered in helplessness, if I were, you would know already. At this moment, Kagari still insisted on asking to be sure. No, why did you end up at this important moment? He closed his eyes to reduce the embarrassment, slowly answering, no, it's because of someone else. His eyes always followed her, silently, while in Sushi's heart, another thought arose. Asterisk. I wonder for how long now. Asterisk. Since I was attracted to Kagari, there's no one else. But in his eyes, there was always a hint of gentleness. But I didn't want to make the girl someone who would only prioritize me. He struggled to utter each painful word. For her own good and not affecting her, I realized the age gap between us, so I always try to keep my distance from her. He wanted Kagari to be happy, so even if it wasn't him, he never finished his sentence when Kagari rushed to interrupt. Nana-kun. She looked at him with her big, sparkling eyes and asked, do you not like me? Hearing her question, he felt awkward and confused about how to respond. Facing her attentive gaze, Suzuki lowered his head in embarrassment. He stuttered, unable to express his feelings. At this moment, Kagari didn't feel sad. Instead, she hugged him tightly and kept whispering, that's okay. Suzuki realized she misunderstood him, hurriedly explaining, no, I didn't say that. Kagari gently responded to his embarrassment. I understand your intention, roughly speaking. The next words from her made him turn his head to look up. To receive the answer you want from Nanako, Kagari's eyes were filled with tenderness as she looked at him, her voice carrying a teasing tone. I'll spoil you a lot, okay? Hearing that, Sushi immediately couldn't react. He looked at her with a flushed face. Along with that, his inner self was screaming loudly since that day. Asterisk, I don't need to worry about my intentions. Asterisk. Like snow, your attack began. In a classroom that was still quiet, suddenly a black-haired student spoke up before Kagari. Are you going home? See you tomorrow. Hearing those words, she instinctively turned to look at him with an innocent gaze. Immediately, Kagari politely replied, see you tomorrow. After saying that, she leisurely left the classroom. Behind her, sounds of chatter continued. Fuyuko Kawa-san has beauty and brains, but she always goes straight home. Is she taking tutoring or studying for exams? These things inadvertently made Suzuki concerned, and he suddenly thought. When outside, Kagari was very polite and courteous. However, the image of her hurriedly reaching out to him suddenly flooded Suzuki's mind, showing that at home, she was like this. In the moment Kagari took his arm, she pouted, saying, Nana-kun, her face looked very cute. That was also what made him worry after that conversation. Every day she behaved like this. Suddenly Sushi-chi pulled his hand back cautiously. He couldn't help but think, asterisk, does she realize what she's doing? Asterisk. Thinking of this, he unexpectedly spoke up, Kagari. The next words he uttered made the other person's eyes widen in surprise. Our relationship is just childhood friends. However, she still kept affirming, we're engaged. This made Sushi-chi accidentally raise his voice, just childhood friends. Hearing what he said, Kagari put on a pitiful expression and asked back, so do you hate me? However, Sushi-chi didn't directly respond to her. He let her sit down and then continuously questioned her in a playful tone. You little demon. Hearing that, Kagari wouldn't back down and replied, I did it on purpose. At this point, he firmly asserted, you little demon. However, in the end, Sushi helplessly sat down with a thought. Asterisk, no matter what, this is my fault for not answering her. If I reject her, asterisk suddenly, Kagari reached out and touched his silky hair, gently calling his name, Nanako. In an instant, she pressed Sushi's head into her embrace, leaving him utterly stunned. In a heartbeat, his face turned red, but Sushi kept speaking in a stammering voice. What are you doing? However, Kagari quickly cut him off. I feel something strange in the air. Hearing those words, he hurriedly replied, the only thing strange here is you. Sushi's fingers were tightly gripping the couch cushion. A quick thought flashed through his mind. Asterisk. I'm stuck in a really bad position, and I can't exert any strength. Asterisk. More accurately, at this moment, he felt utterly helpless amid Kagari's cheerful laughter, because she had just finished showering. The girl smelled so good and was soft too. Suddenly, Kagari spoke up, interrupting Sushi's thoughts. I've always wanted to do this with Nana-kun. What she said left him utterly shocked, and he couldn't help but vehemently protest. Stop calling me Nana-kun. However, the other person bluntly replied, no. This made Sushi take a long time to think. He inadvertently mumbled, I'm like a shy girl, huh? There's no way to act mature. At this moment, Sushi was comfortably sitting on the couch, nibbling on a snack while intently watching the TV screen in front of him. Suddenly, a voice rang out, startling him. Nana-kun. The owner of that voice was none other than Kagari. She walked over with an excited face and a proposal. I'll do anything you want, so please study with me. I'll do anything. Just as her words dropped, Suzuki responded with dissatisfaction. Could you be more normal? A small gift was quickly presented as a reward, a box of pudding. Soon after, Sushi sat down beside Kagari. He slowly spoke up, mathematics? Hearing that, she hurriedly replied, I didn't score as high as I thought on the last test. Kagari's gentle voice echoed throughout the room. In this part, here it is. Immediately after, he tilted his head slightly, his voice gradually becoming warmer. Let me see. However, with their position now, it looked a bit suggestive. Suddenly, Kagari lifted her head, her innocent gaze, and Suzuki's next action was to switch places. His action startled her, causing her to exclaim, You're sitting across from me? Sitting close makes it harder for me to read. However, he continued to assert, It's fine, and very quickly after, both of them returned to their focused studying posture. Kagari kept speaking. Nana-kun is really smart, right? My mom often tells me about you. Hearing that, Suzuki quickly replied, I'm not that smart, but before, he was in the top 5 in class. Just as his words ended, the other person excitedly cheered. Super! Suddenly, a poor test score unexpectedly appeared, along with Suzuki's low tone. Kagari, it's not that you can't do it. This time is different, right? Immediately after, he gently explained. You can do this question if you remember the basic formula. Seeing her black-hearted expression, Kagari was dozing off in class. Suzuki suddenly fell into contemplation. At that moment, she also said, When I study this, my mind is filled with images of Nana. Upon hearing this, both of them quickly fell into a state of complete silence. On the other side, she blushed deeply, while he helplessly raised his hand to his forehead, and Kagari sank into other thoughts. I didn't mean to say that. However, Sushi was not much different from her. He seriously pondered, and now, are you embarrassed by that? To help the atmosphere here not become oppressive, he suddenly spoke up to change the subject. It's probably my fault that your grades dropped. Wouldn't you feel more comfortable if you were at home? Contrary to Suzuki's expectations, Kagari became more dejected. She lowered her head to the table and replied in a choked voice, You don't have to say it that way. Her reaction flustered the other person. He hurriedly spoke up in defense. I'm sorry. I'll study with you until you can do it, okay? By this point, Kagari was tired and sprawled out on the table, murmuring, I'm experiencing low blood sugar. This made Sushi on the other side jump. He inadvertently exclaimed, Huh? At this moment, she slowly raised her face to look at him, her voice still carrying a hint of grievance. Can I have a bite of the pudding you're eating, Nana-kun? Hearing that, Sushi could only stand there in shock. However, in the end, he still offered his pudding, saying in a calm voice, Here. Sushi helplessly sighed resignedly. Come on, you're a high school student now. He didn't hesitate to comfort her. I remember when we were kids, we used to do this, right? Open your mouth. Only then did Kagari's face become bright. She didn't hesitate to eat the pudding he offered, but right after that, both of them returned to a shy state. When she spoke up, Nana-kun, one bite is enough. At that moment, Sushi was offering another spoonful of pudding. He awkwardly explained, Did you change your habit? It used to be a few years ago. There was a time when Suzuki ran into Kagari at the park. Hey Kagari! She looked up and called him, Nana-kun, with a puzzled expression on Suzuki's face as he looked down at her. What are you doing? It's really cold. He sat down and asked, Are you playing alone? Kagari looked intently at Suzuki sitting across from her. Always alone. My dad is the same. My mom is too. Because of work, there is no one home. Suzuki suddenly interrupted. Kagari, with a calm expression, he inquired, You really like hot chocolate, right? His sudden question startled Kagari, who replied, Yes. Sushi began to reminisce about his skills. I'm really good at making hot chocolate, he said. I don't think there's a way to resist drinking it. In the end, he gently concluded, But that hot chocolate can only be made at my house, you know? Kagari didn't understand what was happening, and Sushi stood up, preparing to leave. Our parents have a good relationship, so it's fine to call your dad later. Today, my mom is at home, she hesitated to say, but he wouldn't let Kagari's intentions become sincere and pretended to be pitiful. But if I leave you here, I'll become the bad guy. Leaving you at the park in the cold evening would be cruel, making her panic and agree. I get it, let me go with you, Sushi quickly replied. Okay. The image of the two leaving left a mark on the ground. Nana-kun can't become the bad guy, Suzuki replied absent-mindedly, then advised. Yeah, but from now on, stop doing things like being alone in the park. Ending that memory, Kagari dreamily thought. Asterisk. Nana-kun is lying on the bed. Asterisk. She dreamily thought to herself, asterisk. In times of difficulty, he will definitely help, so I feel that one day I will like him. Asterisk. Kagari's eyes sparkled with an idea. Asterisk. If that's the case, who knows? Nana-kun might like me too. Asterisk. Remembering a time they were watching TV together, she became more convinced. It's really true that he seems relatively indifferent to other girls, but with me, he reacts differently. Kagari looked straight at the TV and asked, "This girl is cute, isn't she?" Sushi, with a questioning tone, replied, "Is she?" Her unexpected answer suddenly took a different turn. "Am I cute?" That unexpected expression made Sushi turn his face away, coughing. Sometimes, Kagari leisurely leaned against him. What if I got closer? When we touched or whatever, he would react even more clearly. In the past, there were many scenes that proved her thoughts. During those moments, it was undeniable. Therefore, she acted like that. At that moment, Kagari shyly crawled up and went outside, but didn't know if he cared about those things. Standing behind, Kagari secretly gazed at Nana-kun, who always looked like he was thinking about something. What could it be? She keenly noticed Sushi's action. He's playing a game. Suddenly, Kagari hugged him from behind, startling Sushi. "Nana-kun!" Fortunately, the game didn't end in defeat. She hugged him tighter, causing him to plead, "Kaguya, can you let me finish my game?" However, she took advantage of it. "Nana-kun, you play really well, so this is fine." However, in this position, all it did was make him more flustered. What does playing well have to do with this? With this situation, no matter how Sushi tried to resist, Kagari recalled the magazine she had just read earlier. She leaned into his ear and called his name, thinking, asterisk, I'm applying what I just learned. Asterisk, Nana-kun. Suzuki awkwardly replied, "What is it?" Kagari confidently answered, "Because I like calling you that." So, she just called him that. Hearing that, he felt an ominous premonition. Don't tell me you'll do that later too. However, Sushi still let her hug him tightly, feeling that Suzuki allowed her to. Kagari happily smiled. In the end, he still wouldn't confirm whether he liked me or not. But this is fine. Feelings will grow, and gradually, I hope he likes me too. Sushi was still trying to pretend to resist. "Let go of me." The scene shifted to the workplace. By chance, he met his senpai. He greeted, "Hey senpai, have you finished your work?" "Awesome," Suzuki chatted amicably. "I'm quite tired, worried about being late in traffic, so I forced myself to finish it." He heard that and was shocked. "But today you were just dumped with a pile of work, right?" Sushi answered while pressing the elevator button. "Yeah, that's right. Thanks to that, it's harder than usual." His tone was filled with sarcasm at Sushi's words. "Huh, if it were a regular person, they wouldn't be able to finish that much work in normal hours," he added. "That's why everyone around calls me a workhorse." Suzuki was astonished by that information. "Isn't that because you created that nickname?" "But I also have difficulties doing that. Completing work early isn't always good. Sometimes mistakes happen, and everything I do becomes an example to learn from. Please let me off the hook." He thought, "I'm going crazy." Despite complaining, Sushi stayed optimistic and continued working, having gotten used to moments like that. "So I have to figure out how to make it reasonable." Hearing that, he concluded, "Hey, if I say that, I must have been really good in school, right? There must be a lot of people who admire me." Suzuki didn't deny it but just sighed. "Man, it's not like I can experience the tragic feeling like back then anymore." The junior comforted him casually. "That's just reality, so whatever you say, it's the same. Plus, senpai always got along with everyone around, so there must be many girls who want to live in the same house as him." Suzuki felt helpless. Before the junior's words, "Oh, come on." Suddenly, he dropped a line that made Sushi freeze in shock. "I thought senpai had a girlfriend already." The elevator displayed the floor number they needed to get to, and Sushi replied absent-mindedly, "I don't know." He stepped out while bidding farewell to his junior. "I'm going home first. Mom cooked dinner, so I have to hurry back to eat it while it's hot." He was surprised by Sushi's swift departure. "Wait, how can you be so hungry at this time?" As he walked further away, he secretly thought, asterisk, this guy has no extraordinary or special talent, yet he's really good and always ranks first. How enviable, asterisk. Suddenly, the junior remembered. Oh, his doubtful voice faded with Sushi's retreating footsteps. Hot rice? He must be back cooking now. He truly was a person of punctuality and responsibility. But everything didn't align with what that junior thought. In reality, he didn't have a girlfriend. However, Sushi opened the door, and waiting for him was Kagari's cheerful face. "Nana-kun, I'm glad you're home." In fact, Sushi didn't have a girlfriend, but he had a childhood friend and fiancé. Kagari waited at the door, causing him to unconsciously say for the second time, "Oh, I'm back." She told Sushi about what she had done. "Today, I watched the recipe and cooked at the same time." He praised her and casually removed his outer jacket. "Great job. What did you cook? Let me try it and see how delicious it is." Suddenly, Kagari broke into a strange smile that puzzled Sushi immensely. "What's up again?" She clasped her hands together, shyly expressing, "Nana-kun, don't you think we look like a newlywed couple?" Sushi was taken aback, reminding her, "Hey, I've told you many times already. At the same time, he pinched her cheek, causing Kagari to exclaim, ouch. Sushi mildly reminisced about the engagement that their parents agreed upon. That was just a hasty decision made while we were chatting. Although she was still being pinched, she stubbornly retorted, but since we were kids until now, who said those words would change? Kagari's cheerful face decisively replied, if that's the case, then it's no longer a vague and irresponsible promise. In front of that face, Sushi could only surrender as usual, as his opinions were always rebutted. Although outwardly he appeared a bit annoyed because they had debated this topic many times before, inside, Sushi felt completely the opposite. Watching the girl he loved in front of him only made him want to spoil her more. In fact, since long ago, it was only this girl that he didn't know how to act appropriately. Nonetheless, seeing the pile of dishes stacked in front of him made Sushi propose, hey Kagari, could you reduce the number of dishes to wash? Kagari, with an expressionless face, glanced at him. I knew you would say that. Sushi's helpless tone rang out as the phone screen displayed the conversation between the two. Have you finished? It's raining, so let's go home together. Yeah, I'm almost at home. Suddenly, a voice called out to Sushi from afar. Nana-kun. Kagari cheerfully ran over to him, making him wait. You're a bother, Sushi replied politely. It makes sense, but looking at the pile of 8 dishes in front of me, Sushi has to make a suggestion. Hey, Kagari, can you reduce the number of dishes to wash a bit? Kagari, expressionless, glances at him. I knew you'd say that. Sushi's helpless tone resonates as the phone screen shows the conversation between the two. Are you done? It's raining, so let's go home together. Yeah, I'm almost at GA's house. Suddenly, a voice calls out to Sushi from afar. Nana-kun! Kagari cheerfully runs over to him, making him wait. Sorry to trouble you, Kagari, Suzuki politely responds. She doesn't pay attention and just holds out the umbrella. It's fine, here, she says, and he praises Kagari's preparation. You brought an umbrella too? So clever. Suzy admires the heavy rain outside. It's pretty strong, but only for a short distance. So it's fine to go now. At that moment, Kagari suddenly speaks up. Nana-kun, if I hold the umbrella, it'll probably hit your head. Hearing that, Suzuki just replies, and right after, he takes off his jacket, making her suspicious. Wait a sec, let me hold it. It turns out Suzuki intends to drape the jacket over her shoulders. His sudden action leaves Kagari completely flustered. What if Nana-kun gets wet? Suzuki smiles reassuringly at her. Since he has the umbrella, rainwater might just drip onto Kagari's shoulders. As a multi-purpose tractor, he has thought of everything. He had even considered the case of getting wet on his way home. Until he texted you, he planned to run straight home. Buying an umbrella would be a hassle, and Sushi didn't want her to get wet either. And since this is Kagari's umbrella, it's fine for him to share it with her. Kagari can only softly say, However, her expression shows worry for him. But I'm worried about Nana-kun and don't want you to catch a cold. Sushi's gaze is gentle and affectionate. As he holds up the umbrella, he speaks firmly, let me take care of you. Kagari's face turns bright red from his sincere words, and she stutters, repeating what he said, making Sushi feel shy too. In the end, Sushi gets what he wants. By the way, sharing this umbrella. It used to be like this, right? I always forget to bring an umbrella. Kagari starts to chat back and forth. Thanks to being childhood friends, our conversation rarely misses a beat, right? Suzy recalls the image of Kagari, sitting with her knees hugged in a baggy shirt, her eyes sparkling at the everyday scenes, clingy and helplessly following him, he thinks. Every time he's not paying attention, Kagari has already taken his shirt to wear without him noticing, and most of the time, none of them return to their beloved owner. Holding the pile of washed clothes, Suzuki sighs in annoyance. Ugh. Freshly washed clothes, he stands in front of the wardrobe, imagining Kagari, like a little kitten snuggled up in a pile of clothes, lamenting that Kagari has already taken several of them. Clothes aren't for you to build a nest, you know? Sushi knocks on the door, making a knocking sound. He stands at the door, knocking and calling. Kagari, do you have a few of my t-shirts? A timid voice answers from inside. If I say it, you'll take them back. Sushi mutters, yeah, that's right, yeah, he replies from outside. If you're sleeping, just stay there. I can go in myself. Can I open the door? Kagari, lying on the bed, replies, yeah. The door opens, and he peeks in. Excuse me for a moment. Seeing the scene in front of him, his eyes widen in surprise. She lazily lies on the bed, looking carefree and sleepy. Up on that shelf in the wall. He doesn't have time to finish, and the door slams shut. Kagari scratches her head, confused. Suzuki tightly grips the doorknob, puzzled. Never mind. Let's talk later. When Kagari wakes up later, Suichi's face is flushed with embarrassment, thinking this time it must not be on purpose. But don't be that careless again. He tells himself outside that he must prepare and apologize gradually. Hopefully, she'll forgive him for this. Inside, Kagari sleeps soundly. After a while, she wakes up and looks around. Kagari looks down at the shirt she's holding, mumbling, it's Nana-kun's shirt, so it's too big. Her face turns bright red, thinking about Nana-kun coming into her room earlier. No wonder he was flustered. Kagari gently touches the shirt, vowing to herself that from now on, she has to dress cutely. She stands behind Sushi, smiling brightly. Hey, Nanakun, did you see anything when you came into my room? He, focused on cooking, casually replies, didn't see anything. Kagari, cutely pouting, suggests, Nanakun, let's go out and buy something. Suzuki, slumped on the sofa, responds, ugh, I've had enough of days off. He explains that it's his day off, and besides, he usually lacks sleep. Kagari stares at him, moving closer behind him, whispering, if you don't get up, I might lean on your cheek again. Immediately, Suzuki puts on his jacket and gestures for her to hurry. Kagari, watching his back, calls out, you're making me feel a bit conflicted. The two walk down the street together, chatting. She holds up a small piece of paper. I wrote down what we need to buy. He replies nonchalantly, great. The two walk side by side, keeping a certain distance. Suzuki breathes a sigh of relief, thinking, indeed, when we're outside, she doesn't cling to me much. It's a relief. He gloomily thinks about a colleague nearby. Kagari is still a high school student, and if discovered, although her parents permit it, it might be viewed differently by outsiders. While he's pondering, Suzuki is suddenly startled. Kagari anxiously turns to call Nanako. What should we eat for breakfast starting tomorrow? Pancakes, he replies casually. Rice, Kagari agrees. Oh, let's buy ingredients for side dishes. The two arrive at the supermarket, and Sushi looks at the list while searching. She hands him items to choose from. The two happily shop. At the end of the day, with a full bag, Sushi gently calls Kagari. He holds up the bag, puzzled. How many flan did you buy? Kagari lowers her head, shyly explaining. That's to bribe my beloved Nanakun. Suzuki scowls in annoyance, thinking he looks like a sweet tooth. She opens her eyes wide in anticipation, but he still eats, right? He helplessly replies, yeah, I will. Just as they're talking, a person on a bicycle approaches. Suzuki quickly turns his head, teasing, what about just this body? What else could you buy to bribe me? He turns his head to instruct her while moving closer to Kagari. Kagari shrinks away to let the bike pass. The bicycle zooms past, and Suzuki tightly hugs Kagari for protection. At this moment, he is taken aback, quickly backing away, calling softly, Kagari. She is now blushing all over, nervous but not responding, as the tense atmosphere envelops the two. Sushi feels awkward. Ouch. He awkwardly breaks the uncomfortable silence. Usually, she's still attached to him like this. Kagari stutters. That's only when we're at home. Suzy looks away, puzzled. What, are you shy outside then? She jumps, her face turning as red as a tomato. Kagari tightly shuts her eyes, embarrassed, not responding. Suzuki, equally red, thinks, oh man, feeling emotional inside. So cute. Outside, trying to recover from the embarrassment, he recalls how they once shared an umbrella. That time, they only had a short distance to go, and just when Sushi was tidying up beside her, the phone suddenly rang. Kagari looks at the screen and then blankly speaks, Mom's calling. After that, she picks up the phone. Nanakun? Yeah, hello? Upon hearing his name, he is momentarily confused. Kagari, come to the table and give the phone to Suichi. What did Mom say? After hearing, he takes it and replies, yes, yes. Suichi subtly gestures for her to let him go over to listen. He takes the phone to listen. The voice on the other end greets him. Good evening, Sushi-kun. He politely replies back. Yes, I'm listening. Kagari continuously asks him a string of long questions. Are you well, Kagari? Is it bothering you a lot? I guess she's taking up the sofa, huh? Sushi responds politely. Yeah, she's sitting there. Then she continues to ask, and Sushi-kun, what about you? He replies, I'm not sitting. Kagari casually asks back, huh? I thought I allowed both of you to be together. After hearing this, Suzuki helplessly replies, I've said it countless times already, but you keep letting your daughter live here. Does that make sense? He's a single man, you know? The woman doesn't flinch and replies innocently. Kagari's family, both her parents agreed. Upon hearing this, Suzuki finds himself speechless, unsure of what to say. He coldly responds, so, you're carefree like that, huh? Kagari's mom then asks back, so originally, weren't both of you promised to be engaged? She cannot focus on reading anymore, constantly glancing at Sushi. Mother Kagari reminds herself not to eavesdrop. That's not good behavior. He then speaks up, isn't that because of what you and your parents said? Why, is that so? Mother Kagari seems to understand him. She gently asks, does Kagari bother you, or does she annoy you? He denies it. No, it's not like that. The person on the other end sighs, lamenting about this girl. She has been extremely dispirited since you started keeping your distance from her. The mother recalls that no matter what, she never had any energy, even when she tried to encourage her daughter by saying, my daughter is great. She still knows that whenever something happy happens, she always wears a sulky face. But the mother is happy to continue as before. Try talking to her, and you'll be fine. Mother Kagari said something that made Sushi feel embarrassed. Right now, the girl seems really happy. After hearing this, he is shocked, stammering, happy? You're exaggerating. Mother Kagari, seeing this shy expression, immediately questions, Oh, Sushi Chikum, Kagari likes you a lot. Don't you understand that? He sighs and replies, of course, I know that, but Kagari probably fears that Sushi would say something she doesn't want to hear. Mother Kagari decisively interrupts him. Well, for now, let's take it slow. From now on, protecting the girl from dangerous things is still up to Sushi-kun. After hearing that, he can only awkwardly smile while thinking, she is so polite. After that, Suzuki politely replies, well, is there anything else? Mother Kagari immediately replies, she received some vegetables from below. She's about to divide them and send them over. Suzuki replies, thank you. After that, the conversation ends, and he gently presses the end call button. Kagari, overly curious, excitedly asks, what did Mom say? Suzuki jumps, wondering, when did you get here? Then he replies, she just said to send some vegetables. Kagari is still not at ease and continues questioning, is that all? Is there nothing else? Suzuki replies coolly, yeah, no. After hearing this answer, she still doesn't feel relieved and analyzes, no way, or is everyone talking about sending me like sending vegetables? Suzuki, upon hearing this, immediately questions, where did you get that idea? He reassures her that won't happen. Kagari skeptically asks, really? Suzuki teases, I haven't discussed anything with you, so how could I? After hearing this, she lowers her head, feeling a bit disappointed. Kagari seriously asks, hey Nana-kun, why did you allow me to stay here? She feels a bit sad, sharing, you could have refused. She thought she wouldn't be accepted, yet Sushi hesitantly responds, Kagari, at that moment, I honestly confessed. At that moment, you looked just like an abandoned little kitten. After hearing this, she suddenly asked, a kitten? Suichi awkwardly explains, I didn't mean anything bad, Kagari. Hesitating, she asks, so because I'm a cat? Before she can finish, Kagari quickly reaches out and touches Suichi's hand, then gently moves closer to him. Suichi, feeling embarrassed, blushes, and his voice stutters as he asks, what is it, Kagari? She still doesn't say anything, simply gently touches his hand, and then shyly turns away, not forgetting to leave a teasing comment. Nana-kun, from now on, if you don't take care of this abandoned kitten, that won't do. Sushi, hearing that, feels a strange itch. He sighs, his hands trembling as he replies, oh man, if you keep talking like that. Suichi recalls the moment earlier when he opened his door and found her standing outside, completely astonished and panicked. He remembers when she first came here too. Just looking over could tell what she was thinking. How could I ignore her? Suichi slumps down on the floor, sighing, realizing it's truly cheating. A new day arrives as the phone screen displays the conversation between Suichi and Kagari. She texted, today, you promised to go to the festival with me, right? I'm waiting at home. He reads the message and recalls, the summer festival? Suzuki feels a bit helpless, sighing. I just got back from work, but as he opens the door to step inside, Kagari is already dressed in a beautiful formal outfit. She cheerfully calls out, Nanako, I knew you were coming back. Then Kagari excitedly asks Suzuki, is my yukata okay? Nanakun's mom helped me put it on. Hearing this, he is confused and asks, huh? When did I not know that? She doesn't answer the question and shifts to another topic. I also brought Nanakun's yukata. Suzuki, feeling a bit tired, complains. Wearing that and walking around takes a lot of time, so let me just change into normal clothes. Kagari, upon hearing this, replies sadly, you heartless person. After a moment of struggle, the two reach the festival. Kagari excitedly exclaims, so many people are coming to this area for the festival. Suzuki replies, right? I've known since I was little that you've loved festivals. Kagari glances at Suzuki, happy to be cared for, and replies, yeah, I love the strawberry skewers. She happily recalls that she used to be taken by him often. Suzuki coldly replies, that's because both our parents came along. Kagari then intended to say, whenever I go with you. But before she can finish, asterisk, clack asterisk, she trips and falls. Without thinking, Kagari falls into Suzuki's arms, leaving both of them bewildered. The atmosphere suddenly becomes awkward. She jolts, her face turning red. Suzy takes the initiative to break the ice by asking, are you okay? Kagari stutters, I'm fine, I just slipped. After that, she awkwardly turns around and continues walking forward. This cute expression of hers makes Suzy think about what Kagari once said about not wanting to cling to him too much when they're outside. He feels helpless, but when at home, it's fine. He really doesn't understand. After that, she unexpectedly calls out, hey Nanakun, she's curious. I still haven't heard your thoughts about my yukata. Upon receiving the question, Suzuki becomes awkward and stutters. Well. Kagari feels a bit disappointed and asks directly, isn't it strange? Suzuki, upon hearing this, is startled and asks back, huh? He feels confused and can't express his thoughts, stammering about whether it's weird or not. Kagari, not wanting to hear any discouraging words, interrupts him. Nanakun once told me that I suit blue, so I tried selecting the yukata and these accessories. She reassures him. So no matter how unusual it is, it's fine. Kagari actively defends herself. I just don't know much about your preferences. Suichi, upon hearing this, hesitates and lowers his head, calling her name, Kagari. He shyly turns away, honestly saying, "It's fine," because it looks beautiful. After hearing this, her face instantly lights up, her cheeks turning pink, creating an incredibly beautiful expression. Kagari happily laughs loudly, saying, "Heh, that's great." Meanwhile, Suzuki stands next to her, feeling shy and wanting to dig a hole to hide in. He thinks to himself, "I tried not to say things like that." After that, the two youngsters happily go to the festival. Kagari eagerly looks at the stalls and exclaims, "There are so many strange booths this year, right?" Sushi replies, "Yeah. Not long ago, they were even selling whole cucumbers." She hears this and blankly asks, "Cucumbers?" While enjoying the festival and munching on cucumbers, the two of them walk while hearing whispers from beside them. "Aw, that cute little girl is so adorable." These words reach his ears. Sushi feels a bit uncomfortable and suggests, "Kagari, let's buy a few of those masks first." She, confused, doesn't understand but still accepts one. After that, she realizes they're preparing to launch fireworks. "Hey, I still haven't seen any strawberry candies." Kagari voices her disappointment. Suzuki comforts her. "It seems there are only a few shops selling candy." While walking around and looking, Kagari agrees. "Uh-huh." After that, they head to one shop to inquire and then to another. They see a candy with a tiny apple called Princess Apple. Then the two move to another shop to ask. While both are frantically looking for strawberry candy, Kagari quickly looks up at the sky. Suichi also looks up and realizes, "The fireworks are starting." Kagari hastily urges, "We need to find a spot." He asks curiously, "Where?" She replies, "Of course, somewhere with few people." Suzuki agrees. "That's good. Hurry, over there." After that, in the sky, where the night sky is covered, the fireworks sparkle brilliantly. Kagari excitedly exclaims, "Wow!" Seeing this, Suichi teasingly responds, "You were so scared of fireworks when you were little." Kagari angrily retorts, "That was a long time ago." He continues, "Lately, we've been going together often, huh?" Under the bright fireworks, Kagari casually replies, "Wasn't it always like that? You just avoided me for no reason." Suzuki feels embarrassed, lowers his head, and admits, "Sorry." Kagari then speaks up, "But thank you for going to the festival with me this year." She smiles happily, expressing, "If I can still go with Nanakun next year, that would be wonderful." Suichi is dumbfounded, extending his hand. He holds Kagari's hand, feeling puzzled. What am I doing? He understands that for him, she is his childhood friend, promising to go to the festival together next year, but why he can't say it. After a moment of confusion, Suzuki decides to let go of her hand, but Kagari quickly stops him, reminding him, "Just hold on to it." Kagari hesitantly suggests, "Today, can you hold my hand as my childhood friend?" Suzuki questions, "Kagari, don't you usually feel shy outside?" She awkwardly replies, "I already have this mask, so you can't just let go." He asks again, "Is that a problem? So we're childhood friends. Holding hands at this age is weird." Kagari stutters, "I didn't think of that, but I want to hold Nanakun's hand. Do I need a reason?" After finishing her sentence, Kagari hugs Suzuki tightly, making him feel shy and blush. After that, the two let go of each other. Kagari actively wants to release his hand, but Sushi has tightly held onto hers, asking, "Why?" "Alright, this way we won't get lost." Kagari shyly agrees, "Yeah, I often wander around." After that, she feels shy, holding the hand of her childhood friend, eyes tightly closed. Suichi feels embarrassed too, but quickly regains his composure and sighs. The two, after much effort to overcome their shyness, firmly hold each other's hands. Suichi asks, "How long will we do this?" Kagari politely replies, "Until we get home." The two childhood friends, hand in hand, admire the dazzling fireworks. One of them whispers, "This moment definitely isn't just for now." After returning home, Kagari is drinking water when she hears some clattering noises beside her. She walks over to Sushi, asking, "Nanakun, are you playing a game?" He replies, flustered, "Yeah, my friend just invited me to play, but I feel a bit tired." Kagari asks, "Is it MOBA?" Sushi patiently replies, "Yeah, my teammates are all out, so I'm focusing hard now." "Come on, let's go." But Kagari sits beside him, not understanding anything. Feeling tired, she leans on Suzuki's lap, making him panic. "What are you doing?" Kagari straightforwardly admits, "It seems like Nanakun is busy playing, so I'll take the opportunity to admire you a bit." Suzuki, upon hearing this, is bewildered. "Is there a way to admire like this?" he exclaims. "Oh man." Kagari shyly sits up. "Did you just get knocked out?" Sorry, Suichi helplessly responds. "Yeah, of course I got knocked out." Kagari still looks confused and asks, "Really?" He sweats, reminding her, "Next time, if you plan to do such things, just let me know first." Kagari agrees. "Uh-huh." After that, she sprawls on his lap. Sushi thinks to himself, "I have to finish the game and can't chase her away, so I'll just let her be." Time passes, and when the game is won, he hesitantly speaks up. "Hey, aren't you going to get up?" She replies, "Here." Shh. Suichi unknowingly rubs his eyes and speaks up. "Huh?" Seriously, I don't know what to do. His eyes are naturally tired, so he thinks, I'll just take a short break. Kagari responds without hesitation. Then it's Nanakun's turn now. He is caught off guard. Huh? Wait. Without waiting for Suichi to react, Kagari directly pushes him into her lap. He is startled and wants to sit up, stuttering, what do you mean? But before Suzuki can do anything, Kagari directly holds him back, reassuring him, just rest here. Suichi shyly whispers, this might backfire. He reminds himself, calm down, calm down. I'm not the kind of person who gets overexcited. Kagari, worried, gazes into his eyes, asking, Nanakun, how do you feel? The position of her two hills falls right into Suzuki's eyes, making him feel frozen. Suichi tries to convince himself that whenever she's stubborn like this, it's fun to let her act freely. After that, he relaxes his hands and thinks, I guess I'm too tired. Kagari realizes his unusualness and calls, Nanakun. Just a few minutes later, the atmosphere becomes quiet. Kagari realizes, oh, he's asleep. She remembers he said he was tired, right? Kagari then quietly admires the face of her childhood friend, the one she's known for a decade. She gently strokes Suzuki's hair and softly talks to herself. Nanakun doesn't like to be spoiled by others, Kagari confides, so after getting married, I'll pamper him every day. She whispers, I also want to be spoiled. If that's the case, we'll spoil each other. Recalling a time before when both were little, the story of a neighborhood camping trip. At that time, Kagari was just an elementary school student while Suzuki was a middle school boy. She, feeling flustered, asked Nanakun, aren't you going to participate? He awkwardly explains, I'm sorry, Kagari. My mom manages all the activities, so I have to help her. Then Suzuki doesn't forget to pat her head, reminding her how rare it is to have such an opportunity. You can go play with your peers, he gently continues. Following Suzuki's advice, Kagari anxiously and shyly walks towards her friends. At that time, everyone was vigorously discussing. Now we'll start from here. Someone sees her and asks, hey, are you serious about joining? Kagari jumps and replies, just go according to the plan. That side decided it. When she intends to step forward, she accidentally trips over a stone under her feet. As Kagari falls, the flashlight in her hand falls too. She blankly looks ahead at the end of the path. The group of friends has left Kagari behind, happily playing with each other. She nervously calls back, wait for me, don't leave me behind. But in the quiet space, suddenly, a loud crack time sound erupts, and Kagari trembles, tilting her head, looking at the branches making rustling sounds. She is so scared that sweat breaks out, thinking, this is frightening. The rustling sound grows louder, and Kagari helplessly thinks, it's too dark, my legs can't move. She fears that her mouth stutters, wanting to call, Nanakun. Just then, a figure appears behind her. Suzuki, worried, holding the flashlight, steps forward, calling out loudly, Kagari! He breathes a sigh of relief as he approaches her, saying, I found you, thank goodness, Suzuki adds. People at the checkpoints along the way didn't see your group, so they reported to me. Are you hurt anywhere? Kagari doesn't say anything, tears welling up as she decisively rushes into Sushi's arms, calling out, Nanakun. Kagari bursts into tears, choking out, I'm scared. I'm really scared. She, heartbroken, asserts, I don't want to participate anymore. I want to go home. Suichi gently pats her head, softly comforting her. Okay, let's go back to everyone. He apologizes, sorry for leaving you alone. While Kagari continues to tightly hug him, crying non-stop, the dark night above makes the shining stars sparkle even brighter. Suzuki asks, can you walk? Kagari shakes her head slightly. He then suggests, how about I carry you? She softly replies, no. He wonders, huh? Then how? Kagari rushes to hug Suichi, explaining, I'm scared, because if I do, I'll feel lonely and scared of ghosts. He understands and responds, oh, I see. After that, Suzuki takes off his jacket and says, then, let's do this. He gently drapes his jacket over her and carries Kagari on his back, asking gently, is that okay? She shyly leans on his shoulder, replying, yeah. Kagari thinks to herself, warm. After that, Suzuki takes the initiative to start a conversation. Those naughty kids from the group must have separated you, right? Kagari replies, no, they just left me behind. After he helplessly sighs, daring to leave Kagari behind, those little brats must not have tasted the flavor of law yet. Upon hearing this, she is confused and repeats, law? Sushi then chuckles, adding, I'll make sure they eat a mouthful of it. To this day, Kagari still hates ghosts and scary things. Back to the present, when Sushi wakes up, he calls out, if you're sleepy, you can go back to your room and sleep. Kagari rushes to hug his waist, replying, I'll only go when Nanakun goes to sleep. Suzuki helplessly reminds her, I'm not your heater. As her body accidentally touches him, Suzuki thinks to himself, from back then, Kagari has always hugged me comfortably like this. It's true that she's now a high school student, but her bad habit still can't be changed. As he drifts into thought, Suzuki suddenly jumps. He whispers in Kagari's ear, teasing, now I'll turn on some horror channels for you to watch. Suzuki thinks to himself, saying this to scare her, but he would never actually do it. Before he could finish his thoughts, she unexpectedly suggests, if I get too scared, can I crawl under the covers with Nanakun? Hearing this, he is momentarily speechless, turning away and saying, yeah, let's watch some entertainment shows. Kagari, feeling a bit disappointed, voices her complaints. Even though it's what Nanakun said, it sounds too harsh. He shyly admits, I was just kidding, don't take it seriously. Kagari, with an excited expression, calls out, Nanakun, let's go. As Suzuki just got back from work, he sees her excited face. He walks in and asks, Today is Halloween, right? Kagari replies, I'm glad you're back home. Since I moved in with Nanako, I've started to not pay attention to holidays anymore, Suzuki replies. Those things are quite troublesome. Kagari gently reminds him. So, Nanakun chose candy, or to be teased, huh? He immediately holds out a box in front of her, saying, Here's candy for you. After that, Kagari stands on her toes and whispers to him, Actually, I'm not prepared to receive candy. Sushi lightly responds with an flicking her forehead. Kagari pouts, Why did you flick me? He exposes her scheme. You intended to scare me, right? Just stop. In his heart, Sushi thinks. Anyway, I think she'll take this opportunity to plot something, so I'll buy the cake just to be safe. He remembers this morning when he realized, whenever she wants to play a trick, she always makes this expression. Today is October 31st. In the end, Sushi triumphantly thinks to himself, so today, I won't be teased or played with by Kagari. Suddenly, he feels Kagari tighten her grip, looking at him with a flushed face, whispering, I really want to tease you. Suzuki, feeling distressed as he looks at Kagari's face, reluctantly shakes his head. All right, I give up. She curiously calls out, Nanakun? Suzuki hesitates. If you seriously want to do that, then, well, I never got to choose between candy or being teased. Kagari unexpectedly touches Suzuki's face. I said I would tease Nanako. She leans in closely to whisper, I just want to show you my prank. Kagari's face is flushed. Just because Nanako is more skilled, Suichi struggles to hold back his composure in front of her cuteness. Looking at that gift box, Kagari exclaims, using this as a strategy, what else can I do? Suichi mumbles, I've been saved by this. Kagari doesn't hear clearly, asking, what? After a while, in a school corridor, Kagari walks while scrolling her phone. She thinks to herself, I have to buy more soy sauce. In the distance, she sees several people continuously discussing. That girl seems to be from the upper grade. Huh? Why is she in our grade's floor? Is she looking for someone? Just then, a girl suddenly runs up and blocks Kagari's path. Here, she points and asks, are you free now? After that, Kagari feels embarrassed by the girl's words. She hasn't done anything even though they've been together for months. Kagari thinks, oh my. What a useless brother, she laments. He really is hopeless. She continues to criticize Nanakun as usual. This girl is none other than Sushi's younger sister, Teruya. She casually replies, you've always been so passive. How could that brother of yours understand? Kagari concentrates on drinking water, a bit startled when she hears Ie mention her name. The next words immediately make her blush. In short, he has a childhood friend who is beautiful, cute, and innocent, and he has been thinking about her since childhood. Ie complains, and still hasn't done anything. Isn't that stupid? Kagari quickly changes the subject. Ie-chan, did something happen today? She eagerly asks, why are you changing the subject? From afar, Suzuki helplessly approaches. Ie, I'm speechless. You should have given me a heads up before coming. Ie looks around. Your room is so different from before. I guess it's thanks to Kagari living here, huh? Suzuki lowers his voice. Don't change the topic. Kagari quickly approaches. Sorry, I thought Ie-chan wouldn't mind. I'm glad you're back. Suzuki can only sigh. It's fine since you're part of the family. You're back, Ie. She pushes the food towards him. Mom just came back from traveling. She told me to bring this. Sushi sits down and speaks. Oh, thanks. He quickly realizes, this sweet stuff, Kagari loves it, right? She responds, yeah, I have to thank Mom. Then Kagari hands a cup to Sushi. Hey, here's for you. He takes it, thank you. Ie remains silent, staring at the two. While he is drinking tea, he suddenly hears her call him, and the next two words cause him to spit out his drink. Why haven't you done anything yet? He flustered exclaims, so hot. Kagari anxiously asks, Nanakun? After that, Sushi turns to her, Ie, don't say those strange things. The girl directly points out, you're the only one who is. She questions, don't you think about Kagari's happiness? Suichi takes the napkin and thanks her. What happiness? Moreover, weren't you neglecting Kagari back then? You panicked and exclaimed, damn, Kagari worriedly asked Nanakun, then Sushi turned to her. Don't say weird things like that, the other person bluntly pointed out. You're the only one she cares about. She challenged. Don't you think about Kagari's happiness at all? Suichi took the towel and said, thanks, but what happiness? Besides, didn't you used to ignore Kagari back in the day? Going back to those days, You two were both girls and just a year apart, so I thought you'd be really close. But you're always out hanging out with the guys, leaving Kagari all alone. Suichi took the initiative to comfort Kagari, saying, I have to take care of her. After hearing that, Kagari's eyes sparkled. I really have to thank IA-chan for this. Thanks to her, I got close to Nana-kun. The other person quickly chimed in. No need for that. No matter what, it's unfair to you, right? IA frowned and spoke. I think if Kagari is happy now, that's good. Her eyes widened. But if you keep being picky, Kagari will hate that. In the end, Sushi couldn't hold back and scolded. It's almost time. Go out and calm down first. Before leaving, she didn't forget to exclaim, Wow, Kagari quickly became your girlfriend, huh? Suichi's face turned red at that. What? IA's voice echoed back from behind the door. Okay, I'm going back to report to my mom. What are you mad about? In the end, Suichi sighed. She keeps talking about nonsense. Kagari, don't mind it, okay? As he turned back, he saw Kagari's face clearly flushed. She let out a few ums, and Suzuki immediately got embarrassed and couldn't say a word. He thought to himself, I really don't understand Kagari's embarrassment standards, and she's blushing like that over being Nana-kun's girlfriend. Right, before getting married, you have to be in a relationship first. Another day, Kagari was sitting intently watching her phone. Suichi next to her couldn't help but ask, Hey Kagari. He cautiously asked, I heard some familiar sounds. Kagari smiled. It's the sound that IA-chan sent. Sushi got embarrassed. She only sends me those things. What did she say? He wondered. Kagari hesitated. She smiled. I'm looking forward to a lot of things about Nana-kun during the time you were away from me. Suzuki couldn't help but curse inwardly at this little girl. Suddenly realizing something, he yelled, Did this girl start telling unnecessary stories? You'll definitely add more spice to this. Let me see. Sushi reached out his hand toward Kagari's phone, but he accidentally pushed her down on the couch. Sushi immediately jumped up. Sorry about that. The warm atmosphere was suddenly interrupted by a flash sound. Suzuki angrily pinched her cheek. Kagari-san! She felt shy. Her voice also became squeaky because it was rare to have this kind of opportunity. In the space, only Kagari's voice remained. I'm very happy because my phone has a camera function, Suzuki almost shouted. Don't get lost in your own joy like that. Quick, delete it. She shook her head, refusing. Absolutely not. I'm out of words. Are you a child or what? No, but Kagari weakly suggested. Nana-kun can take a picture of me too. Her alluring pose made Suichi freeze. What do you plan to do with the picture you just took? Kagari proudly responded, Change my phone wallpaper. Suichi quickly snatched the phone and deleted the photo. He firmly reminded her that she should have the other person's permission to take photos. Got it? She teared up and moved closer to Sushi. Please let me take a picture, he insisted. I don't like being photographed. Those words made Kagari sob. You're being so mean, not even letting me take a picture. Sushi was left speechless. What's with your attitude of asking for permission? In the end, Kagari was allowed to take a picture of her hair. Suzuki looked at her, smiling foolishly, feeling confused. This picture, I also plan to set it as my wallpaper. If my friends see it, what will I do? At a shop displaying many cute Valentine's chocolates, Kagari couldn't help but show off. Look, Nana-kun, Valentine chocolates. They're all so cute, Sushi exclaimed. Around this time, there are always cute-shaped chocolates displayed in a special corner, she said. Every time I see you, you dodge all of them. Kagari retorted. Hey, do I need to do anything? She turned and whispered. This year, I'm also giving you some. Suichi could only sigh. These chocolates are really expensive. So you don't need to give me every year, Kagari advised, but the cost of making them isn't that high. So you don't need to worry too much. It was then that he realized, You made them yourself? Kagari replied nonchalantly. I make them every year. I thought you went out to buy them, but I made them myself. The two suddenly fell into a silent void. Suichi remembered that at home, she even had a pile of recipe books. Back then, I kept failing. Kagari's face suddenly turned bright red. I tried hard to make them delicious just to give to you. Suichi was astonished and froze. She suddenly spoke up. But, Kagari wondered, is it similar to the store-bought ones? Are you used to their taste? Even though I know everything you like. He saw that and could only stutter, unable to speak. Kagari's expression turned slightly sad. Suzuki felt shy and scratched his head. Every year, I think they're delicious. This made her astonished. After that, Kagari happily laughed out loud. I can't wait to run over. This year I'm making them too. What do you like, cake? Suzuki could only sigh. You're starting to act like you do at home. At that moment, she also realized that the people around were paying attention, and the feeling of embarrassment surged up. Kagari quickly hid behind Suzuki and pushed him away. Come on, Nana-kun. He could only reply with a few uh-huhs. A normal day, just like any other, sounds came from the door. Suzuki quickly walked in. I'm back. He recalled that this morning, Kagari said she would head straight home after school today. Make chocolate for me, okay? Since tomorrow is a holiday, I'll stay here and come back later. Suichi felt a bit disappointed. Didn't Kagari say she wouldn't come back today? Am I just used to going home now? After that, he had to clean up by himself. It's been a while since I've been alone. Today, I just ate a little. Being alone is really peaceful. After eating, Sushi washed 8 plates clean by himself. He suddenly noticed the phone notification. Suichi picked it up and saw it was a message from Kagari. She texted to check on him. Nana-kun, are you lonely without me there? After reading, Suichi fell silent and frowned. He quickly regained his spirit, taking advantage of this moment. Normally, if Kagari was around, he couldn't drink any alcohol. But with her gone, it wasn't long before Kagari returned home. She cheerfully smiled as she walked to Nana-kun. I happened to finish earlier than planned, so I quickly came back. After calling several times with no response, Kagari became curious. Is Nana-kun asleep? Entering the room, she found Sushi sprawled on the couch. She quickly realized, wine? But when it's just us, you don't drink. Then Kagari approached and reminded him. If Nana-kun keeps lying there, you'll catch a cold. Get up. Sushi, in a daze, called her name, Kagari, then sat up. What's up? I thought you wouldn't come today. She smiled and replied, I thought you were sad, so you didn't reply to my message. So Suichi unexpectedly leaned against Kagari and hesitantly joked. After that, the two sat in silence. The atmosphere made her gradually feel confused. Suddenly, Sushi spoke up, making Kagari jump. You smell really sweet. She quickly explained, it's the chocolate I made. Suichi gently remarked. Oh, chocolate? Suddenly Suichi reminded her, you really don't need to make it at home. Your parents can do it. That made Kagari blush, not understanding what was happening. She quickly realized, oh, fell asleep again. In Kagari's heart, she kept pondering about the rare opportunity she wanted to take a picture of Nana-kun while he was drunk. But she hugged Sushi and contemplated, Nana-kun, are you really that lonely? After a while, when he was sober, Kagari presented her gift. Here's your chocolate. Sushi couldn't help but feel confused. Thank you. Why do you turn away like that? She gently replied, it's nothing. Suddenly, Kagari suggested, Nana-kun, can we stay together today? He was surprised. Why is that? Kagari shyly looked at him. If it weren't for you, I'd be really lonely too. Susu,